All right, let's talk NAFTA, shall we? It's his favorite topic. Mike Eppel joins us now over at 680. Mike, currency markets now showing a bit of concern here. The deadline is looming.
Yeah, and it looks as though that end-of-month deadline that was, you have to have a NAFTA deal done by the end of September for the U.S. midterms elections or before that, that's probably not going to happen. With the U.S. President Donald Trump saying that he rejected a meeting request by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, which Trudeau's office says actually wasn't requested. But regardless, the idea that there are no NAFTA talks scheduled on a formal basis this week, well, that puts us past what was supposed to be an end-of-month deadline on a trade deal. And the big risk is what the U.S. president was threatening again yesterday, that they could hit the auto sector with tariffs, which would be a big-time hit to our economy. We're already looking at tariffs on steel and aluminum exports and other items. So you ratchet things up, and the Canadian dollar drops in response, because the theory being that if, in fact, the Canadian economy slows or it gets hit by a trade dispute, well, then the Bank of Canada won't be raising interest rates next month. The U.S. Central Bank raised interest rates for a third time this year yesterday and is likely to do so again in December. Canadian dollar this morning is now back well below 77 cents U.S. Meantime, the price for oil is at a multi-month high. It's north of 72 and accelerating because the U.S. Department of Energy says that it is not going to take any action in the short term to increase supply levels to try to keep the price at the pumps and the oil market down. Again, Donald Trump talking about how OPEC has kept prices artificially elevated, and he'd like to see them actually reduce prices because you've got the U.S. midterms coming up and consumer spending. He doesn't want to see gas prices go up, but in the near term at least, price for oil continuing to move to the upside. And we'll be tracking this morning the market reaction to the Ontario government rollout of the retail rules for cannabis sales and how that's going to play out for the distribution of cannabis once it is legalized on the street level, so to speak, and how that could shake things up from a distribution and sales standpoint.
Could be scary, so to speak, right?
It's going to be interesting, nonetheless. From a who's going to, which jurisdiction will opt out of retail? Do they say we don't want it, as opposed to getting the potential revenue, from a retail sales basis? It's going to be very interesting. We've got municipal elections coming up, Roger. It's going to be certainly something that's going to be talked about.